Hey there, friends. Did you know that what you put on your plate every day could be the difference between enjoying a walk in the park with your grandkids or facing a life changing stroke? If you're over 55, this is something you can't afford to ignore. Strokes are one of the leading causes of disability for seniors, and the wrong diet could quietly increase your risk without you even realizing it. But what if I told you that a few simple changes to how you eat can help prevent a stroke and keep you active for years to come? Stick with me because if you don't watch this, you might miss out on easy ways to protect your health and stay independent. Let's dive in together. Today, we're diving into something that can help you or your loved ones stay healthy and active well into your golden years. I'll walk you through 5 simple ways to eat right after 55 to prevent stroke and keep your energy up so you can keep doing the things you love, like gardening, playing with your grandkids, or just enjoying a morning stroll. We'll go through each tip step by step so you'll know exactly what to eat, why it's so important for your health, and how to make it part of your daily routine. I'll also share real stories from people just like you, along with some practical ideas to make these changes easy and enjoyable. So grab a comfy seat, maybe a cup of tea, and let's get started on this journey to better health together. Let's break this down into 5 simple ways to eat right after 55, and I'll explain everything in a way that feels like we're chatting over a warm meal. Let's start with the first tip. Add more leafy greens like spinach or kale to your meals at least 5 times a week. I know it might sound simple, but leafy greens can be a game changer for your health, especially as we get older. Why is this so important for seniors? Leafy greens are packed with nutrients like vitamin K, folate, and nitrates, which help improve blood flow and keep your blood vessels healthy. For people over 55, our risk of stroke goes up because our blood vessels can become stiffer with age, and high blood pressure becomes more common, both of which can lead to a stroke if we're not careful. Eating leafy greens helps lower blood pressure and reduces the risk of blood clots, which are major causes of stroke. A study from the American Heart Association found that people who eat leafy greens regularly can lower their stroke risk by 20% because these veggies help keep your blood vessels flexible and strong. Let me tell you about Dorothy, a 68-year-old from Birmingham, UK. Dorothy loved her traditional English breakfast, sausages, bacon, and toast, but she started feeling sluggish, and her doctor warned her that her blood pressure was creeping up, putting her at risk for a stroke. She didn't want to give up her favorite foods, but she knew she needed to make a change. So she started adding a handful of spinach to her morning eggs, or having a kale salad with her dinner a few times a week. She'd buy pre-washed bags of spinach from Tesco to make it easy, and she'd toss them into soups or smoothies if she didn't feel like a salad. At first, she wasn't sure if it would make a difference, but after a few months, her doctor said her blood pressure had dropped, and Dorothy noticed she had more energy to walk her dog in the mornings. Dorothy told me, "I didn't think a few greens could do so much, but I feel so much better. I can keep up with my dog now." How can you start with this tip? It's really easy. Aim to add leafy greens to your meals 5 times a week. Maybe toss a handful of spinach into your scrambled eggs, add kale to your soup, or have a small side salad with dinner. You can find pre-washed greens at stores like Safeway in the US or Tesco in the UK, so there's no extra prep work. If you're not a fan of the taste, try blending them into a smoothie with some fruit to mask the flavor. This small change can help protect your blood vessels, lower your stroke risk, and keep you active for the things you love. Now that you've got leafy greens to support your blood vessels, let's move on to the second tip. Eat fatty fish, like salmon or mackerel, at least twice a week for omega 3s. I know fish might not be everyone's favorite, but it's one of the best foods you can eat to prevent a stroke and stay active. Why is this so important for seniors? Fatty fish are rich in omega 3 fatty acids, which help reduce inflammation in your body and lower triglycerides, a type of fat in your blood that can increase your stroke risk. For people over 55, our bodies are more prone to inflammation, and high triglycerides can build up in our arteries, making it harder for blood to flow to the brain, which can lead to a stroke. Omega 3s also help keep your heart healthy, which is key for staying active as we age. The National Stroke Association says that eating fatty fish twice a week can reduce your stroke risk by 15% because omega 3s help keep your blood flowing smoothly and your heart strong. Let me tell you about Harold, a 72-year-old from Seattle. Harold had a family history of stroke. His father had one in his 60s, so he was worried about his own risk, especially since he'd been feeling more tired lately and couldn't keep up with his grandkids at the park. His doctor suggested adding more omega 3s to his diet, and Harold decided to give it a try. He started having grilled salmon for dinner every Wednesday and Sunday, buying it fresh from his local Safeway. If he didn't feel like cooking, he'd get canned mackerel and mix it with a little mayo for a sandwich. It was quick and easy. After a few months, Harold noticed he had more energy, and his doctor said his triglyceride levels had dropped significantly. Harold told me, "I didn't realize fish could make such a difference. I feel stronger and I can chase my grandkids around the park now." How can you start with this tip? It's simpler than you think. Aim to eat fatty fish twice a week, maybe grilled salmon for dinner or a mackerel sandwich for lunch. If you don't like fish, you can try canned sardines. They're affordable and easy to find at stores like Walmart in the US or Asda in the UK. If fish really isn't your thing, talk to your doctor about an omega 3 supplement, but eating the real thing is always best. This habit can help lower your stroke risk, boost your energy, and keep your heart strong for an active life. With your heart getting the omega 3s it needs, let's move on to the third tip. Cut back on salt by using herbs and spices like rosemary or garlic to flavor your meals. I know salt can make food taste so good. Maybe you're used to sprinkling it on everything, but too much salt can quietly harm your health as you get older. Why is this so important for seniors? Too much salt raises your blood pressure, which is one of the biggest risk factors for stroke. For people over 55, our blood pressure tends to go up naturally with age, and high blood pressure can damage your blood vessels, making them more likely to clog or burst, which can cause a stroke. Using herbs and spices instead of salt helps you keep your blood pressure in check while still enjoying flavorful meals, so you can stay active without worrying about hidden risks. A study from the American Heart Association found that reducing salt intake can lower your stroke risk by 25% because it helps your blood vessels stay healthy and flexible. Let me tell you about Susan, a 65-year-old from Manchester, UK. Susan loved her salty snacks, crisps, salted nuts, you name it, but she started noticing her blood pressure was creeping up at her checkups, and her doctor warned her about her stroke risk. She didn't want to give up flavor, so she started experimenting with herbs and spices. She'd season her chicken with rosemary and garlic instead of salt, or add a pinch of thyme to her roasted veggies. She even started growing a small herb garden on her windowsill, which gave her something fun to do. At first, she missed the salt, but she soon found she loved the new flavors even more, and her blood pressure dropped to a safer level. Susan told me, "I feel so much better without all that salt. I have more energy to garden, and I'm not as worried about my health anymore." How can you start with this tip? It's really easy to do. Next time you're cooking, skip the salt shaker and reach for herbs or spices instead. Try rosemary on chicken, garlic in soups, or basil on tomatoes. You can find dried herbs at any grocery store, like Safeway or Tesco, and they're affordable and last a long time. If you're eating packaged foods, check the label for sodium content and choose low sodium options when you can. This small change can help keep your blood pressure down, lower your stroke risk, and keep you active for the things you enjoy. Now that you're cutting back on salt, let's move on to the fourth tip. Eat more berries, like blueberries or strawberries, at least 3 times a week for their antioxidants. I know berries might seem like a treat, but they're actually one of the best foods you can eat to prevent a stroke and stay active. Why is this so important for seniors? Berries are loaded with antioxidants, which help fight inflammation and protect your blood vessels from damage. For people over 55, our bodies are more prone to oxidative stress, a process where harmful molecules can damage our cells, including the ones in our blood vessels, increasing our stroke risk. Antioxidants help neutralize those harmful molecules, keeping your blood vessels healthy and your brain well supplied with oxygen, which is key for staying active. A study from Harvard Medical School found that eating berries 3 times a week can reduce your stroke risk by 20% because their antioxidants help improve blood flow and lower inflammation. Let me tell you about Margaret, a 70-year-old from Boston. Margaret had always been active. She loved her morning walks with her friends. But after a scare with high cholesterol, her doctor warned her about her stroke risk. She wanted to stay active without relying on more medications, so she started adding berries to her diet. 3 times a week, she'd have a handful of blueberries with her oatmeal, or some strawberries as a snack with a bit of yogurt. She'd buy frozen berries from her local Whole Foods to save money, since they're just as healthy as fresh ones. After a few months, her cholesterol levels improved, and she felt more energetic during her walks. Margaret told me, "Those berries are my little secret. I feel so good knowing I'm helping my body while enjoying a sweet treat." How can you start with this tip? It's really simple. Aim to eat berries 3 times a week. Maybe add blueberries to your breakfast, have strawberries as a snack, or toss some raspberries into a smoothie. You can find fresh or frozen berries at stores like Walmart in the US or Sainsbury's in the UK, and frozen ones are often cheaper and last longer. If you're worried about sugar, berries are naturally low in sugar compared to other fruits, so they're a safe choice. This habit can help protect your blood vessels, lower your stroke risk, and give you the energy to stay active. With your blood vessels getting the antioxidants they need, let's move on to the fifth tip. Drink more water and limit sugary drinks, aiming for at least 6 cups of water a day. I know it's easy to reach for a soda or a sweetened tea, especially on a hot day, but staying hydrated with water is one of the best things you can do for your health after 55. Why is this so important for seniors? Dehydration can thicken your blood, making it harder for it to flow through your vessels, which increases your stroke risk. Sugary drinks, like sodas or sweetened juices, can also raise your blood sugar and lead to weight gain, which puts extra strain on your heart and blood vessels. For people over 55, our sense of thirst decreases with age, so we're more likely to get dehydrated without realizing it, and that can make us feel tired and sluggish, keeping us from staying active. The American Heart Association says that staying hydrated can reduce your stroke risk by 15% because it helps keep your blood thin and flowing smoothly. Let me tell you about Robert, a 67-year-old from Chicago. Robert loved his daily cola. He'd have one with lunch and another with dinner, but he started feeling tired all the time, and his doctor told him his blood sugar was too high, putting him at risk for a stroke. He didn't want to give up his fizzy drinks completely, but he decided to make a change. He started carrying a water bottle with him and aimed to drink 6 cups of water a day, about 1 cup every couple of hours. He'd add a slice of lemon to make it more enjoyable, and he cut back to just one soda a week as a treat. After a month, he noticed he wasn't as tired, and his doctor said his blood sugar had improved. Robert told me, I didn't I didn't realize how much better I'd feel with water. I have more energy to play cards with my friends now." How can you start with this tip? It's easier than you think. Aim for 6 cups of water a day. Keep a water bottle nearby and take small sips throughout the day. If plain water feels boring, add a slice of lemon, cucumber, or a few mint leaves for flavor. Try to limit sugary drinks to once a week, and when you're craving something sweet, opt for a piece of fruit instead. This habit can help keep your blood flowing smoothly, lower your stroke risk, and give you the energy to stay active and enjoy your days. Let's recap everything we've covered today. We talked about 5 simple ways to eat right after 55 to prevent stroke and stay active. First, we looked at adding more leafy greens like spinach or kale to your meals to support your blood vessels. Then we talked about eating fatty fish like salmon or mackerel for omega-3s to keep your heart strong. Next, we explored cutting back on salt and using herbs and spices to flavor your meals to keep your blood pressure in check. After that, we discussed eating more berries, like blueberries or strawberries, for their antioxidants to protect your blood vessels. And finally, we covered drinking more water and limiting sugary drinks to stay hydrated and keep your blood flowing smoothly. Together, these tips can help you lower your stroke risk, boost your energy, and keep you active, is so you can enjoy the things you love, like walking in the park, gardening, or playing with your grandkids. I know making changes to how you eat can feel overwhelming, especially if you're used to certain foods or routines, but you don't have to do it all at once. Start with one small change, like adding a handful of spinach to your breakfast tomorrow or swapping one soda for a glass of water this afternoon. You deserve to feel energetic, strong, and independent no matter your age. And these little steps can help you get there. As the American Heart Association says, what you eat today can shape your health tomorrow. Every healthy choice counts. So let's make a promise. This week, try at least one of these tips and keep going, one day at a time. You've got this, and I'm here cheering you on every step of the way. If you found this video helpful, I'd love for you to give it a thumbs up and subscribe for more health tips for seniors. Your support means a lot, and it helps us share more ideas to help you live your best years with energy and joy. I'd also love to hear from you in the comments. Which of these tips are you most excited to try? Maybe you're thinking about adding more berries to your diet or cutting back on salt. Let me know. I read every comment, and I'd love to hear from you. Take care, stay healthy, and I'll see you in the next video. Bye for now.